$100 MBA Show, and today is a Q&A Weekends episode where we answer your question right here on the show. If you have a question you want to ask, just email us at contact@100mba.net. Or you can send me a tweet on Twitter, @BizRepublic is my handle, B-I-Z Republic. As always, I'm your host, your coach, your teacher, Omar Zenhom. I'm also the co-founder of the $100 MBA, a complete business training and community online. Make sure you check out our free guides over at 100mba.net. We got guides on creating a one-page business plan, how to create an online course, and the 8 must-haves of a business website, and more. And they're all free to download. Go check them out. Today's question comes from Fred, and Fred asks, why did you decide to start a podcast? Why did you think it would be good for your business? Excellent question, Fred. And I'm going to share with you our story, explain to you exactly why I chose the medium podcasting, and why I thought it would be good for our business, and why I thought it would be a good move in terms of content marketing. You'll also learn that it wasn't all rosy at the start. Actually, my road to podcasting was really, really rough at the start. It was really not exactly what I wanted it to be, but I'll explain that later and explain why you might want to pick up podcasting and make it part of your business. Let me get into it. Let's get down to business. Today's episode of the $100 MBA Show is sponsored by Edible Arrangements. Take the next step in your entrepreneurial journey as an Edible Arrangements franchisee. The brand that's famous for fruit arrangements now also offers delicious tasting smoothies. Edible Arrangements franchisees join a brand with 16 years of growth, 1,200 stores, and millions of visitors to ediblearrangements.com. Discover why Entrepreneur Magazine named Edible Arrangements among the best of the best for 2015. Start your journey to sweet success as an Edible Arrangements franchisee at ediblearrangements.com or call 1-888-727-4258. Again, that's ediblearrangements.com or 1-888-727-4258. So Fred asks, why did you decide to start a podcast and make it a part of your business? Well, Fred, to be completely honest, I am a big fan of the medium. I was a podcast listener for years and really never thought about starting my own podcast. But I went to a conference in 2014, January of 2014, called New Media Expo. And at the time, podcast was just starting to catch fire. And also at the time, Nicole and I had a video series where we interviewed experts in our area in business. We had a chance to speak to a lot of great entrepreneurs like Corbett Barr and Gary Vaynerchuk. And we used to put these videos on our blog. And at the conference, when people were asking us, what do you do and what are some things that you do with media, we would explain this is what we do. And they said, hey, why don't you turn that show, those interviews, into a podcast? And we just never thought about, a podcast, that sounds great. So our first stab at podcasting was an interview show. It wasn't this show, actually. And the title of the show was People Who Know Their SHIT. And it was fun and exciting at the start, but for all intents and purposes, it was a failed podcast. It didn't get much traction. Listenership was really down. And even though we had a really good time meeting new entrepreneurs, interviewing them, we had 46 episodes. That's a lot more than what most people do when they dabble into podcasting. But we learned a lot of hard lessons. We realized that, we're doing it all wrong. We believed in the medium of podcasting because I really believe that it's a very intimate relationship with your listeners. You're in their ears, you're in their daily life, in their most mundane moments, but it's also really intimate as well. And I believe that you can build a strong connection with your audience through podcasting. And I wanted to build a strong connection. I wanted to build an audience. Because I realize in business, if you don't have an audience, you have people that resonate with what you are doing and what you're offering, then you're really going to be speaking to nobody, and you're going to be selling to nobody. So having a strong audience is critical to a successful business. And I like this form of media, podcasting. But that podcast was really not going well. So Nicole and I decided to regroup and rethink the whole podcasting thing altogether. We took a look at some of the great podcasts that are out there, the ones that we admire. And we looked at, what makes them pro, what makes them successful. And we compared it to our show and realized, we're just not up to snuff. One of the major things we were doing wrong is that we were not utilizing our strengths. As many of you know, I was an educator for over 12 years at the high school and college level. Teaching is something that I was trained to do and been doing for years. But I was interviewing people. I wasn't teaching. And I realized I got to start using my strengths, which include teaching. And that was kind of the birth of the $100 MBA Show because we decided to create a different type of show. Instead of an interview show, a lesson-based show, a show that teaches every single day, just like you would learn a language. Nicole was a part of the old interview show. She interviewed with me, but she didn't enjoy it at all. She actually didn't enjoy being in front of the mic. She enjoyed post-production. She enjoyed the producing, the editing, putting the show together. And we just came to terms with what we like to do and are able to do, and we focused on those areas to build the $100 MBA show. We spent 2 months building the show. Creating it, the episodes, batching them, making sure everything is up to snuff. We had Matt Giovanisi, a great creative guy. He created our theme music to keep it original. We rethought the whole thing through. The whole plan with the $100 MBA show is to reach as many people as possible and build a thriving audience. And we've been lucky enough to have that level of success. And obviously we have you, the listener, to thank for that. We exist because of you, because you listen. So side note, we love you guys. So why do I continue to podcast? Why do I think podcasting is a good idea for business? Well, I'm a big proponent of content marketing, producing valuable content for your audience to get in front of what you're saying, to prove that you're worth being listened to, and then eventually doing business with. I don't expect anybody to look at the $100 MBA Training Community, buy any of our products, buy Webinar Ninja, if I don't show them that I'm of value and that I can produce things that they are going to want. And you could do this in different mediums. You could do a video show on YouTube, you could do infographics, you could do blogging, or you could do a podcast. And I believe that podcasting has a potential to grow in the future. The medium itself is still very young, and I'm glad I started when I did. And we see a direct correlation between the amount of traffic we get to our website, to the number of downloads we get on the show, to even the number of sales we make with our products. So it makes business sense. You have to put out great information out there. So you just got to find the medium that's best for you. And for me, I feel podcasting is something that I feel very comfortable with. I also like the concept of creating a body of work, and podcasting allows me to have that structure. This is episode 392. We have nearly 400 episodes. That's something that I'm personally very proud of. That when it's all said and done, I'll have a body of work that people can use, that people can benefit from. And podcasting allows me to have that structure of consistency to build that legacy. Now, you could build your legacy in a different medium. You could do that through blogging. Leo Babauta has an epic blog. It's an amazing resource. He's built his legacy through his blog. If you're wondering, it's called Zen Habits. You could check it out at zenhabits.net. There are people who have made a career off their videos. If you're into video games, there's a big personality in video games called Chris Smoove. This guy has millions of hits on each video, and all he's doing is he's commenting on his gameplay. But he's entertaining, and people love him. And he's hilarious. He even sells t-shirts with all his catchphrases. But he's built momentum because he puts out a lot of videos. Puts out like 3 or 4 a week. That's his legacy. What's yours? And that's what you got to ask yourself. Which medium do you feel like you lend yourself to? If you think podcasting is exciting and it's an up-and-coming time and you want to jump onto it, then go ahead and do that. But know that you have to be consistent. Guys, I got more on today's topic, but before that, I got to give love to today's sponsor, Biz Filings. Biz Filings is where you go to incorporate with step-by-step guidance from on-demand experts. If you want a job done right, you gotta go to the experts. And when it comes to incorporation, that means Biz Filings. You don't want to mess around. With more than 1 million incorporations under their belt, the people at Biz Filings know all the ins and outs of setting up a business for success. They'll break down the process for you, outlining the fees and the forms, and work closely with the state so you know exactly what to expect every step of the way. Biz Filings was founded by entrepreneurs who set up the kind of experience they'd want if they had to do it all over again. A straightforward site loaded with tools to help you understand your options and make the right call. With the resources at Biz Filings, there's no need to put off incorporation any longer. Get started today with a free guide at bizfilings.com/start. That's bizfilings.com/start. The last piece of advice I want to give if you're thinking about starting a podcast, Fred, or anybody who's listening, is that you need to make it a part of your business or part of your schedule. This is not a side project that we do here at the $100 MBA. It's a big part of what we do. It's a lot of the time that we spend every single day. And we have a big vision for it. We really want to produce the best episodes possible. We're trying to up our game in not only the content and the delivery, but also up our game in the production, in the editing, in the sound. If you listen to episode 1, it sounds a whole lot different than today. We've changed our equipment. We've changed our actual studio. We've done a lot of different things to make sure that our show is always at a pro level, because you got to be pro, because there's so many pros in podcasting now, regardless of your category. There's people with big budgets and big teams that are out there. So it's not super easy to stand out because they're not all amateurs. And people are catching on, and more pros are getting into the game. There's so many celebrities that are starting podcasts, like Shaq, and Alec Baldwin has a podcast. Stephen Colbert from The Late Show has a podcast because they understand the power of this medium. So just make sure you commit yourself time, creativity, thought, and even some money into investing into becoming a great podcaster, because you want to have the best shot of success when you enter the podcasting world. Fred, I hope that answers your question, and I hope you all enjoyed today's episode. I sure enjoyed teaching it. Again, guys, thank you so much for being a subscriber to the show. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet on iTunes or Stitcher, make sure you do so you get all our episodes automatically for free. You'll also have access to our feed, which gives you all the backlog of all our episodes, because in iTunes, they only show the latest 300. So if you want the earlier episodes, make sure you subscribe and check out the feed so you can download. All right, guys, I want to leave you with this. One of the hardest things when it comes to being out there with your content, whether it's podcasting or blogging or a video show, is being your true self in front of people. It's not easy. You're putting yourself out there. And when you put yourself out there, you're open to criticism. And it's scary. But you got to fight through that fear, and you got to fight through those demons inside you, those doubts that tell you you're not good enough, or this sounds stupid, or whatever. No one sounds great from day one. If you listen to episode 1, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It makes me cringe, but you have to have cringe-worthy work in your past to be worth something. That means you're improving. So just get started. You'll get better over time. Don't worry about being perfect or pro from day one. Mastery is a lifelong process. Just get started, stay consistent, and you'll be happy that you did. All right, guys, I'll see you in tomorrow's episode. I'll see you then. Take care.